We'll open the meeting of June 15th for the civil service. And Louisa, let me know when you've got attendance taken care of.
I'm ready.
All set?
Yeah.
Okay. A motion to accept the minutes of May 18th, 2023.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Alice, I'll second it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, corrections, changes? All right, all in favor say aye or wave your hand at me. Opposed, abstentions. Okay, very good, thank you. Bill, do we have any one to hear? Okay, terrific. We'll move on to new business. Amendment to the Trumbull Civil Service Rules to add the titles Executive Secretary to the First Selectman and Executive Assistant to the Chief of Police to Rule 1, Section A. So, yeah, I have a few questions, but
yeah,
why don't
absolutely.
you do your presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the reason why I'm on today, because okay, so if you look at the civil service rules of the town of Trumbull, Rule 1A deals with the exceptions to civil service, meaning it lists positions that do not fall under civil service. If you remember, I mean, I'm not sure exactly who was here last time, but fairly recently, a couple of years ago, we added Trumbull EMS to this list. Remember, we specifically added them because they're certified, and when you have a high-level certification like police and EMS, civil service kind of doesn't make sense anymore, right? Because there's their own certification process. So there's a number of positions that are exempted from being under civil service. One of the categories is appointed positions that are in the charter, ordinance, or I forget what the other thing is,
State statutes.
Right. And so there are two positions that are appointed positions and have been appointed positions for time immemorial. We look back, Marianne and I look back pretty far, and we were able to show that they have been treated as non-civil service appointed positions for a very, very long time. I cannot find any place in an ordinance, statute, or the charter that specifically mentions these two positions, which is essentially the executive assistant to the first selectman and the executive assistant to the chief. This came up because the executive assistant to the chief has left the town, and so we're in the process of hiring a new one, and everyone was, well, it's an appointed position, so non-civil service, except for I couldn't justify it not being civil service. So I'm just asking you guys to add it to the list to make it legitimate, legitimize what has been happening in the town for, I mean, really forever. It's been a very long time that these two positions have been appointed positions. So I'm asking you just to add these to the list to make it official that these are non-civil service.
Okay, so I do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
What's the difference between a secretary, executive secretary, and an executive assistant?
So that is really title. The executive is the part that's more important because that means it's the highest level of admin that we have. And so these are the two highest level admins that are on the town side for the first selectman and the chief of police. That's what makes them different. They're paid more, they're higher level responsibility, all that.
Okay. All right. So switching them over, there's no other implications about their job description, whatever, at that point?
These are both one-off positions. So there's only, the executive secretary to the first selectman is filled currently and has been filled by the same person for a very long time. And by the way, the executive secretary, assistant to the chief of police was filled for a very long time. That's why we never really talked about this, but one of them is leaving, the one in the police department. So it kind of started the conversation, and we did our research. Steve, look, Lisa, we all went into it, and Marianne helped out, and we all agreed that the best thing to do was to just add it to the list and make it official so that no one can have any questions about what we're doing.
Okay. Do you have any idea about when these lists will be updated? Because there is a list that says all the full-time non-union employees, and they're listed there. So if we change it in rule, I mean, and there's no dates on any of the documents that I have, and I probably had them for years. So I don't know if any point we update these things, how that happens.
Well, you know what, Steve and I can certainly let's offline. Let's you and I have a conversation about that, and then Steve and I can go through with Louisa, and we'll update everything we got. Make it. We'll create a date certain, and we'll give you exactly what we have on that date, and then create a regular schedule of updates.
Only because if we all run away and join the circus, there's no documentation unless you go back to the minutes. You know. So.
Actually, I was thinking about that this morning when I was reading through the rule, that we really ought to, I mean, it does say the rules were put in place in 85, but, you know, updated with revisions. But sometimes it doesn't look like the revisions are added. I assume they're in the minutes of the meetings. And I think Ann makes an excellent point that we ought to go back and see where those are and then update the rules based on changes that have been made in individual civil service board meetings. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And further, when I was looking at these documents, none of them are dated. So that's another thing that might, if we date them, at least we know, well, from this date onward, we should look, rather than, I don't know how far back you got to go, you know. But you probably recognize the positions anyway, but still.
Agree. Well, you'd be amazed what we discover on a daily basis. But
oh no, you forget I worked in human resources at the Bridgeport Board of Ed.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, these are a lot of good practices that we should be doing. And, you know, Steve and Louisa have done a lot of work to try to help us out with that. And Marianne, of course, was, you know, she has every record going back to the last 50,000 years. So no, going forward, I think you're exactly right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions or issues? If not, let's make a motion to amend the Trumbull Civil Service Rules to add the titles Executive Secretary to the First Selectman and Executive Assistant to the Chief of Police. And we are adding that to Rule 1, Section A of the Civil Service Rules.
Yes.
Okay, I make the motion.
Thank you. And hey, Alice, how about I see that thumb up. Okay. Thank you.
Alice's hand is doing a great job.
All in favor say aye or wave that thumb. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. It's been passed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kind of giving Louise a little breath here. Secondly, approve the eligibility list for the administrative assistant building department. So
this was a two-part exam per the approval of the board. The first part was training and experience, which was based on whatever information the candidates presented to us in, you know, combination of their application and or resume if they included one. From that, the top 5 people that did the best and frankly passed the training experience were then brought in, and we did an oral exam with a panel. And those there were, I believe there were 5 questions on the exam. They were scored based on by the panel based on their answers to the exam, and those are the final scores. Those are the top 5. So everybody that took the oral passed, although obviously one person did significantly better than the other 4. But all 5 will be, assuming the list is certified, all 5 will be presented to the hiring authority for review.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask Steve or Tom? All right, so I assume that we'll make the, I do have one question. We did an eligibility list for the administrative assistant to the Detective Bureau. Is that a position that you is a little bit higher ranking than to the building department?
I think they're actually the same. Both of them, the
Okay.
board had agreed to take out of the administrative assistant series and do
Right.
separately. And in fact, the testing method was very similar, if not exactly the same for both of them. We just happened to do them 1 month apart, but they're similar positions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, very good. I'll take a motion to approve the administrative assistant building department position eligibility list. Thank you, Alice. I think I saw your thumb, and a second by
Sure.
Michelle. All in favor, please say aye or wave. And opposed, any abstentions? Terrific. Okay, it's been approved.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess that concludes the meeting. And I just want to wish Tom a nice trip because that traffic is a nightmare.
Awful. Yes.
Well, I'm going on the ferry, so yeah.
Oh,
And it's supposed to be 80+ degrees today. I'm not sure if you're looking outside. I don't know where the 80 degrees is.
oh,
I
that's
think I
nice.
missed this. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going
Oh.
just going to Long Island. I have friends from college coming in, so
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's even more fun.
yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
You need a
Safe
motion
travels.
Everybody
and a second to
enjoy.
adjourn.
Do you need, I think you need a motion
Oh,
to
yeah.
adjourn.
Yes.
I always forget that one. A motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
all.
Take care.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.